Okay, this is City of Steel for cello. We're going to talk through some of these spots and then we'll play through the entire piece with the metronome. So starting at measure 5. We're in first position, third finger is on the tape, up bow, open. Then the next note is an extended 4 for that F sharp. Biggest thing you need to focus on anytime we have extensions is always aim for the second and third fingers. Fourth is your weakest, so if you can get these 2 fingers placed correctly, fourth will land better. So second finger is going to reach for the third tape, third finger lands on the fourth tape, and that will help get the fourth finger in its position, and just make sure elbow is up so you can push down weight there. The next note is a cross on the G string, an extended 3. Back to the F sharp, extended 4. Then in measure, we're going to jump to measure 13. Now we have the same finger patterns, but now we have a rhythmic pattern as well. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Count everything by eighth notes and it'll help you place those notes better. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. In 21, you have the melody. Watch extensions again, make sure they're high enough. When we get to measure 22, we're going to start with that open G and we're going to move our hand to second position. So first finger goes on the third tape, second finger goes on the fourth tape, and that fourth finger lands. Then we move back to first position in measure 24. Stretch, move back. At 41, you and the bass will have this melody together. We want to make sure that bow is placed closer to the fingerboard so we can get the mezzo piano volume, but we want it to sound very emotional. So we want to weigh into it. So start from your balance point. Don't get too close to the frog. We don't want it to be too loud. We're going to play from our balance point up. We're going to use a lot of bow and we're going to use more weight so that it sounds very troubled. You don't want to let up off the string unless it's a rest. We just want it to sound very, very big. Just watch your dynamic markings. You'll see in measure 41, we start off in first position. And now going into 43, we're in half position. So I'm going to take my hand and move it back a half step. So first finger goes where low one would normally go, and then second finger falls on that first tape. After those 4 notes, we have an F sharp. We got to jump back up to position. Same pattern repeats on the next line down. And then I want you to look down a couple lines. We're going to start at measure 54. In measure 54, we have starting on the G1. Then we have a G sharp. G sharp would normally be a low 1 on our G string, but it's slurred to an F sharp. So rather than jumping back and forth, we're going to move all the way up to third position. So that G sharp, we're going to go up on our C string. Here's my fourth tape. If I stretch, that's where my extended 4 would go in that space. I'm going to replace that and put my first finger in that space between the fourth tape and our position tape. Second finger lands and third finger is a half step above that. This is where we need to be for this measure 54. And we're going to play 3, 1, 3. And then in measure 56, we stay there. We don't move back. We don't stretch. We just go across the string. Back to the C string. And then in 57, we go back to first position. And we have the rhythm like we had back at 13. So again, from 54, slowly. Shift. 57, watch your extensions, watch your rhythm. We're gonna jump ahead to 89. We have a little bit of position here where we're going to second position, so up on that third finger tape again. So starting in first. 1, 2, during this open G, get your hand ready for second position. Now on this next open D, this is measure 93, back in first position. And then stretch. 97 all the way up until where we have the DS-L coda is a lot of similar rhythms, notes, extension patterns we've already seen. And then at the end of 120, we will jump back to 41. Play all the way through to 64. At the end of 64, we jump to the coda. We have some similar rhythms, styles, melody. And then in measure 129, we have some eighth notes that will lead us into our 16th notes. So as you're playing those eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and, start thinking your 16th notes. 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and a. 133, we're going to take that second finger we just played, stretch it over on the D string. Second position.